I don't know if y'all are familiar with Kev on Stage, but he has this video where people have been in his comments complaining about some of his content being so black centric, and he basically says it's for black people anyway. And that's honestly, how I feel about it at the root, because you didn't ask me this question, but when I think about what I want people to take from it, for black people, I want them to have a space when they're listening where they can laugh with us, cry with us, mourn, feel all the feelings that a lot of times we're forced to keep bottled up. But also have those moments where, even though there's that thread of shared experience, you're also hearing things that are new and different. Like I shared how I didn't grow up in the black church. So I loved hearing about Joseph's experience and how it shaped him. And it just makes me feel even more connected with my blackness, even though that wasn't my experience. But I also do feel like for non-black listeners, I don't feel like it's our responsibility to educate non-black people. However, I am promoting the podcast widely and to everybody, because if they do take the opportunity to listen, I believe this is where we're cultivating perspective. Because I think as they're listening, they're going to hear stories. It makes me think again about social media, where someone will post something from their middle school experience or high school, and the people in the comments are like, how do we all live the same life? How do we all have the same experience? And so, I think it's by others listening, it's going to point out the commonalities that are there that are often, not talked about, and just how more alike we are than different. And I don't mean that on some we all bleed the same color, color blindness, but really, truly, unless you are actually talking to people who are not like you, you're just buying into what you do see on the media. So I think for me, Miss Janetta, the best thing I can do is to continue to try to promote the podcast as widely as possible. So I'm not only promoting to black people, but for tonight, I really, like I said in the beginning, it was about having an opportunity to honor existing black media in Wichita, and also just bring together the people who have really been supporting me along the way on this journey. But I certainly hope that non-people of color, non-black people will take a listen and share it with others in their families and communities, because I think that's the first step to, okay, now I'm putting on my professor cap, but I talked briefly earlier about, how those in power, they want to maintain that power. And one of the ways that those groups will do that is by dehumanizing the other. And so it's imperative that we have these conversations so that when you start to see somebody as more and more like you, it becomes harder to mistreat them, So anyway, I could go on and on, but I take your point, and my hope is that y'all will also share widely and not just, in our community, and we can keep the cultivation of perspective and empowering of our community going.